The Three-Body Problem was written by Liu Cixin, a Chinese author who became famous for this science fiction book, first published in 2006. It's the first part of a big story that stretches across 3 books, exploring what happens when humans meet an alien world far away. Liu Cixin used his knowledge of science and his imagination to create a tale full of wonder, fear, and big questions, making it a story that people all over the world love today. Part 1. The Three-Body Problem. Chaos and Contact. The story opens in China during the Cultural Revolution, a wild and scary time in the 1960s when people were fighting and everything was turned upside down. A young woman named Wenjie is at the center of it all, and her life is falling apart. She's a smart student who loves science, but one day she watches something awful happen. Her father, a kind professor, is attacked by a crowd of angry students and teachers because they think his ideas are wrong. They shout at him, hit him, and in front of Wenjie's eyes, he dies, leaving her shocked and full of pain. She feels lost, like the world she trusted has broken into pieces, and her heart grows cold toward people. After that terrible day, Wenjie's life gets even harder, and because of her family's troubles, she's sent away to work in a far-off place called the Red Coast Base. It's a secret spot hidden in the mountains, surrounded by tall trees and quiet hills, where the government is doing strange experiments with big machines that send signals into space. Wenjie doesn't want to be there at first. She's tired and sad, but she's good at science, so she starts helping with the work, staring at the stars through a giant dish that listens to the sky. One night, something amazing happens. She finds a signal bouncing back from the sun, a message that's not from Earth, and her hands shake as she realizes it's from somewhere far away, maybe even aliens. The signal turns out to be a warning from a planet called Trisolaris, a place with 3 suns that make life crazy and hard because the weather is always changing. One day burning hot, the next freezing cold. The message says, "Don't answer, or we'll find you," sent by someone who doesn't want their people to come to Earth. Wenjie sits there, her mind racing, thinking about how cruel humans can be, remembering her father and the chaos she's seen. Instead of staying quiet, she makes a choice that changes everything. She sends a reply saying, "Come here, we need you," because she's lost faith in humanity and hopes these aliens might fix the world, even if it's dangerous. Years pass, and the story jumps to the present, where a scientist named Wang Miao is living a normal life until strange things start happening around him. He's a quiet man who studies tiny particles, but suddenly he sees a countdown flashing in his eyes, numbers ticking down like a clock he can't stop. It scares him so much that he can't sleep, wondering if he's going crazy, and soon he learns he's not alone. Other scientists are seeing it too, and some are so frightened that they're even taking their own lives. Wang Miao's world feels shaky, like something big and unknown is closing in, and he doesn't know where to turn for answers. Then a tough police officer named Shi Qiang, who everyone calls Da Shi, steps into Wang Miao's life, pulling him into an investigation because the government is worried about all these scientist deaths. Da Shi is loud and rough, always smoking and talking fast, but he's smart in his own way, and he tells Wang Miao about a secret group that might be behind it all. They give him a special headset to try, something that connects to a virtual reality game called Three-Body. And when Wang Miao puts it on, he's thrown into a weird, dry world with 3 suns spinning in the sky, where people run from heat and cold, trying to survive. In the game, Wang Miao meets characters who explain their planet's problem. The 3 suns make life impossible to predict, sometimes roasting everything, sometimes freezing it solid, and their civilization keeps falling apart and starting over. He plays again and again, solving puzzles with numbers and stars, and slowly figures out this isn't just a game, it's a window into Trisolaris, the same place Wenjie contacted years ago. His heart pounds as he realizes the aliens are real and they're coming to Earth, all because someone invited them, though he doesn't know who yet. Meanwhile, Da Shi digs deeper into the real world, and they find a group called the Earth Trisolaris Organization, or ETO, made up of people who know about the aliens and want them to take over. Some of these people are angry at humanity, like Wenjie, who's older now and quietly leading them, her face calm but her eyes full of that same pain from long ago. The ETO meets in secret, talking about how the Tresselarans will arrive in 400 years with ships to fix Earth, and they're ready to help, even if it means betraying their own kind. Wang Miao feels sick hearing this, because he doesn't want aliens to destroy his home, but he's also scared of what they can do. One night, Wang Miao and Da Shi follow a lead to a strange meeting, sneaking in to listen as the ETO talks about their plans, their voices full of hope for a new world under alien rule. Wang Miao sees Wenjie there, standing tall and quiet, and though he doesn't know her story yet, he feels a chill, like she's the key to it all. Da Shi whispers they need to stop this group, but it's not easy. The ETO has people everywhere, even in high places, and they're sure the Trisolarans are watching Earth already, waiting for their chance. As days go by, Wang Miao keeps playing the three-body game, learning more about Trisolaris, how their three sons trap them in chaos, and how they've built a huge fleet to escape to Earth, a planet with just one sun that looks perfect to them. He feels a mix of awe and terror, imagining ships crossing space, coming closer every year, and he starts to understand why some people might welcome them. Earth isn't perfect either, with wars and problems of its own. But he doesn't want to give up, and neither does Da Shi, who keeps pushing him to fight back, saying they can't let the aliens win without a struggle. By the end of this part, the truth hits hard. Wenjie's message from years ago has reached Trisolaris, and their fleet is already on its way, set to arrive in 4 centuries, too far to feel, yet too close to ignore. Wang Miao sits with Da Shi, staring at the stars, his mind heavy with what he's learned, while Wenjie and the ETO grow stronger, ready to help the invaders. The countdown in Wang Miao's eyes stops, but the real countdown has just begun, ticking down to a day when everything might change, and humanity doesn't even know how to prepare. So this first part ends with a world waking up to a danger from the stars, sparked by one woman's despair and a signal sent long ago. It's a time of chaos and contact, where fear and wonder mix together, setting the stage for a battle that's still far away, but already feels so real. Part 2. The three-body problem. Revelation and resistance. Wang Miao is still shaken from everything he's learned. The three-body game, the Trisolaran fleet heading to Earth, and the Earth Trisolaris Organization, or ETO, ready to welcome the aliens. He's sitting with Da Shi, the tough police officer who's become his partner, and they're both trying to figure out what to do next, their minds buzzing with worry. The countdown that haunted Wang Miao's eyes has stopped, but he knows it's just the beginning. Because 400 years might sound far away, but the danger feels so close. Da Shi lights a cigarette, his face serious, and says they need to dig deeper into the ETO, because if they don't stop them, humanity might not stand a chance when the aliens arrive. As they keep investigating, Wang Miao and Da Shi hear about more scientists acting strange. Some are quitting their jobs, others are disappearing, and a few more have ended their lives, leaving notes about losing hope. It's like a dark cloud is spreading, and Wang Miao feels it too, a heavy fear that makes his chest tight every time he thinks about those alien ships crossing space. One day, they meet a group of scientists and soldiers at a secret base, all looking tired and scared, and a man named Chang Weici, a calm army officer, tells them the truth is even worse than they thought. He says the Trisolarans have a trick called sophons, tiny machines they've sent to Earth, so small you can't see them, but they watch everything and mess with science experiments, stopping humans from making new discoveries. Wang Miao's stomach drops when he hears this, because it means the Trisolarans are already here in a way, spying through these sophons. And every lab, every idea is stuck. They can't build better weapons or technology to fight back. Chang Weici explains that the sophons came after Wenjie's signal, traveling faster than light to lock humanity in place. And now the suicides make sense. Scientists are giving up because their work is useless, trapped by an enemy they can't touch. Da Shi slams his fist on the table, angry and loud, saying they can't just sit there. and Wang Miao nods, feeling a spark of determination even though his heart is pounding with dread. While all this is happening, the ETO is growing stronger, meeting in dark rooms and whispering about the Trisolarans like they're saviors coming to fix Earth's problems. Wenjie is there, older now but still quiet and powerful, her eyes carrying the pain of her past as she leads them. She believes humans don't deserve this planet, not after what she saw in the Cultural Revolution, and she's ready to hand it over to the aliens, even if it means the end of everything she once knew. Wang Miao doesn't understand how anyone could betray their own kind, but he feels a shiver when he thinks of her, like she's a ghost from a broken time pulling strings he can't see. One night, Da Shi gets a tip about a big ETO meeting on a ship called Judgment Day, a rusty old boat floating far out at sea, and he drags Wang Miao along to check it out, saying it's their chance to strike back. They join a team of soldiers, all quiet and focused, and sail out under a starry sky, the water slapping against the boat as Wang Miao's nerves twist tighter. When they get close, they see the ship lit up, full of ETO members talking about the Trisolarans, their voices excited and sure, like they've already won. Da Shi grins, rough and ready, and tells Wang Miao about a plan called Operation Guzheng, named after an old Chinese instrument with sharp strings. They're going to use tiny wires, thinner than hair, to slice the ship apart and stop the ETO in its tracks. The plan starts at dawn, and Wang Miao watches from a distance, his heart racing as helicopters drop these invisible wires across the water, stretched tight like a net. The Judgment Day sails right into them, and suddenly, everything changes. The ship breaks apart, metal and wood splitting with awful screeches, and people on board scream as the wires cut through, tearing the whole thing to pieces. Wang Miao covers his mouth, shocked and sick, because it's fast and brutal. But it works. The ETO's leaders are gone, their plans sinking into the sea. Da Shi claps him on the back, saying it's a win, but Wang Miao feels shaky, wondering if this is what fighting aliens will always be like, messy and hard. After the ship goes down, the team pulls up what's left, and they find computers and papers floating in the wreckage, full of secrets about Trisolaris. Wang Miao sits with Chang Weisi, reading through it all, his eyes wide as he learns more. The Trisolarans have been talking to the ETO through the Sophons, telling them how to prepare Earth, and their fleet is huge, packed with machines and soldiers ready to take over. It's real now, not just a game or a story, and Wang Miao feels small, like a bug under a giant foot, but he keeps reading because knowing the enemy is the only way to fight. Back on land, Wenjie hears about Judgment Day and doesn't cry or shout. She just sits still, her face blank, but inside she's burning with quiet anger because her dream of a new world isn't dead yet. The ETO is hurt, but there are still members out there hiding and waiting, and she knows the Trisolarans are watching, pleased with her work even if this battle is lost. She looks at the sky, remembering her father and her choice at Red Coast, and feels no regret. Only a strange peace that scares Wang Miao when he sees her later, her shadow long and dark. By now, the world is starting to wake up. Governments meet in secret, people whisper about aliens, and scientists like Wang Miao try to find hope, even with the Sophons holding them back. Chang Weisi says they have 400 years to get ready. A long time, but not long enough, and they need to start now, building plans and keeping the truth quiet so people don't panic. Wang Miao nods, tired but determined, because he's seen the enemy's face in that game, felt their power in the countdown, and he won't let them win without a fight. Da Shi lights another cigarette, grinning through the smoke, and says they'll figure it out together, rough and steady as always. So, this part ends with humanity standing at the edge, knowing the Trisolarans are coming, and their tricks are already here, locking science in chains. The Judgment Day is gone, a small victory in a big war, but the cost is heavy, and the fear is real. Wang Miao looks out at the night, his mind full of stars and danger, while Wenjie waits in the shadows, her signals still echoing across space, pulling the future closer every day. Part 3. The Dark Forest. Crisis and Deterrence. The story picks up years after Judgment Day sank, and the world has changed. People know the Trisolarans are coming, their ship still centuries away but creeping nearer every day, while the Sophons watch everything, stopping science from moving forward. Wang Miao has stepped back, worn out from the fight, but a new man, Luo steps into the spotlight, a laid-back professor who'd rather drink and daydream than work hard. He's sitting in a noisy bar one night, joking with friends over glasses of beer, when soldiers burst in, their faces grim, and tell him he's been picked for something huge, something secret. Luo stares at them, his head fuzzy from the drinks, feeling a jolt of fear because he doesn't get why they'd choose him. He's no soldier or brilliant mind, just a guy who likes staring at the stars. Soon, Luo is dragged to a massive meeting at the United Nations, where leaders from every country are shouting and planning, their voices echoing with panic because the Trisolarans are a dark cloud hanging over the planet. They've launched the Wallfacer Project, a desperate idea born from the fact that the Sophons can see and hear everything, every machine, every word, but they can't peek inside a human mind. That's why they need this plan, to let a few people think up ways to beat the aliens in secret, keeping their real ideas hidden where the enemy can't touch them. They pick 4 Wallfacers: Luo, a tough general named Tyler, a scientist called Heinz, and a leader named Ray Diaz, and give them unlimited power and resources, more than anyone's ever had, to do whatever they want. The catch is they can't say their true plans out loud, only act them out, because the moment they speak, the Sophons will know, and the Trisolarans will ruin everything. When they name Luo a Wallfacer, telling him he can ask for armies or money or anything else, he feels a heavy load crash onto his shoulders, his stomach twisting because he never wanted this, but there's no way to run from it now. As the world watches, things start falling apart fast, and people are breaking into groups. Some want to stand and fight, some want to build ships and run to space, and others just give up, saying it's all over. Luo walks through packed streets, his ears ringing with cries about the end, seeing scared mothers holding kids and old men staring blankly. And it makes his head spin because he's supposed to save them, but has no clue where to start. The other Wallfacers jump into action. Tyler imagines a giant fleet of warships, Heinz tries to make human brains sharper, and Ray Diaz designs massive bombs to blast the aliens away. But Luo hangs back, sitting by a calm lake with a bottle of wine, gazing at the water and thinking about stars, wondering why the Trisolarans picked Earth out of the whole universe. One quiet day, a memory hits Luo like a spark, and his heart beats faster as he recalls a talk with Wenjie years ago, before she slipped into the ETO's shadows, when she hinted the universe might be a dark forest. He pictures it like a huge, silent woods at night, full of hunters hiding in the trees, each one too scared to move because if they do, another hunter might shoot them dead. He realizes that's why the Trisolarans are coming. They're afraid, fleeing their broken planet with its 3 wild suns, and Earth made itself a target with Wenjie's signal, like a deer crashing through the bushes. Luo shivers, his hands cold, because if he's right, the only way to stop them is to scare them back, to make them think Earth can fire a shot in that dark forest too. But time drags on, and the other Wallfacers hit trouble. Tyler's fleet plan fails when people turn against him, calling him a dreamer. Heinz's brain experiments go wrong, leaving him lost, and Ray Diaz gets chased out of his country, his bombs too dangerous to finish. Luo keeps his idea locked in his mind, not telling a soul, and the world grows furious, shouting that he's lazy and a waste, their voices sharp with hate. He feels alone, his chest tight with their scorn, but he moves to a small house by a snowy lake with Zhuang Yan, a gentle woman he falls for, and their newborn girl, trying to hold on to moments of peace while the crisis darkens around them. People don't see he's building something huge in his thoughts, something that could shift the fight. Meanwhile, the Trisolaran fleet keeps moving closer, a tiny speck in space, but a massive shadow in everyone's heart, and the ETO lingers, weaker but still whispering to the Sophons about human weaknesses. Earth sends out ships, small, brave dots of metal, and Luo watches them on screens, his throat dry as some explode or drift away, leaving families sobbing below. He feels every loss like a punch, knowing if his dark forest guess is wrong, there's nothing left to try. The world splits even more. Some dig deep underground cities with steel doors, others plan colonies on Mars with shaky hands, and many just stop caring, sitting in silence as the days grow short, their hope fading like a candle burning out. One cold night, Luoji sits by the lake, snow falling soft and thick around him, and thinks of Zhuang Yan's warm smile and their baby's tiny giggles, wanting them to grow up safe, not swallowed by alien fire. His idea sharpens. If he can find a far-off star and shout its place to the universe, maybe someone out there will destroy it, proving the dark forest is real, and that might make the Trisolarans freeze in fear. It's a desperate throw, like tossing a pebble into the dark and praying it hits, but it's all he's got. He starts asking for machines to send a signal, working in secret while people mock him, their laughter bitter, but he pushes on, his heart thumping with a mix of terror and hope. As the crisis deepens, food gets scarce, riots flare in the streets, and the sky feels like it's pressing down, heavy with the thought of those alien ships. Luoji hides his plan, even from Zhuang Yan, and it tears at him because he loves her quiet strength and their little girl's bright eyes. But he has to stay hard to save them. The other wall-facers are gone, their dreams shattered, and the world turns to him. Some with rage, some with a faint flicker of faith. He stands alone, a man who never wanted this, staring at the stars through the snow, wondering if his shot in the dark will work, if he can turn silence into a weapon against the coming storm. So, this part ends with humanity sinking deeper into chaos, the Trisolarans drawing near, and Luoji clutching a secret that might be their last hope. The Wallfacer project is breaking, the world is tearing itself apart, but one man, by a frozen lake, is starting to see a way to fight back, using the universe's own shadows. Part 4. The Dark Forest, Standoff and Survival. Years have passed since Luoji became a wallfacer, and now he's ready to put his plan into action, even though the other three wallfacers, Tyler, Hines, and Ray Diaz, have failed, their big ideas crumbling under pressure, leaving people angry and doubtful. He's been living quietly by a snowy lake with Zhuang Yan, the woman he loves, and their baby girl, but he hasn't stopped thinking about the Trisolarans. Their fleet is still coming, closer every day. And the Sophons are still watching, locking human science in place so no new weapons can be built. Luoji knows he has to act, so he goes to the United Nations and asks for special machines that can send a signal into space. Leaders argue about it, some calling him crazy, others saying it's a waste, but he convinces them, and soon the machines are ready, his hands steady as he prepares to take a huge risk. One clear day, Luoji turns on the machines and sends a message out, picking a faraway star and telling the universe its exact spot. His plan is simple but wild. He's betting on his dark forest idea, that the universe is like a quiet forest where everyone hides, and if you shout where someone is, another hunter will destroy them to stay safe. He stands thereafter, looking at the sky, waiting for something to happen, because if this works, it could stop the Trisolarans. Nothing changes right away, and life on Earth keeps going, full of panic and fights about what to do next. Some people build ships to escape, others dig underground, but most just wait, scared and unsure. Luoji stays with his family, telling Zhuang Yan little stories to keep her calm, even though he's nervous inside, wondering if he's made a mistake. Then, years later, something big happens. The star Luoji picked explodes, a giant burst of light far away that scientists spot through their telescopes. Their voices shaking as they say it wasn't natural. Someone out there destroyed it, just like he hoped, and Luoji feels a wave of relief, his legs almost giving out because it proves his dark forest guess was right. The Trisolarans see it too, through their Sophons, and their fleet slows down, then stops completely, floating in space like they're too afraid to keep coming. Leaders on Earth get the news and can't believe it. The aliens have paused, and it's all because of Luoji's signal, a threat that says Earth can call down destruction on them too. He sits with Zhuang Yan that night, holding her hand, his heart lighter than it's been in years. The word spreads fast, and people start cheering in the streets, their shouts full of hope because the Trisolarans aren't moving closer anymore. Leaders call it a standoff, a tense peace where both sides are stuck, too scared to fight. Luoji becomes a hero overnight, even though he never wanted the attention, and they name him the Sword Holder, the one who keeps the aliens away by holding this dark forest threat over them. He moves with Zhuangyan and their daughter to a new house, a quiet place away from the crowds, and for a while, things feel better. People thank him wherever he goes, their eyes bright with gratitude. And he tries to smile back, though he's still tired from carrying this burden alone for so long. But it's not a simple win. The Trisolarans don't leave, and the Sophons stay, watching every step humans take. They send messages through the ETO saying they'll wait, keeping this peace for now, but it's clear they're not done forever. Luoji knows this, and it bothers him, keeping him awake some nights as he thinks about what might happen if they start moving again. The world calls this time the crisis era, and it's a strange mix of calm and worry. People start fixing things, rebuilding broken cities, planting food again, sending kids back to school, but everyone knows the aliens are still out there, a danger that won't disappear. Luoji tries to enjoy his family, playing games with his little girl and talking with Zhuangyan, but he can't fully relax, always checking the sky for signs of trouble. As more years pass, humans get used to this odd peace, and life keeps rolling on, even with the Trisolarans waiting in space. Kids grow up hearing stories about the Sword Holder. People go back to work, and ships fly out to explore the solar system, though they stay close, afraid to push too far. Luoji stays the Sword Holder, watching over the signal machines, ready to send another message if he has to. He gets older, his hair turning gray, his steps slower, and the world starts to see him as a steady figure, someone who saved them when everything was falling apart. But he doesn't feel heroic. He just wants his family safe. And every day he wonders if the Trisolarans will figure out his trick and call his bluff. One year, leaders decide it's time to find a new sword holder because Luoji is getting old and tired, his hands shaky from years of holding this responsibility. They start meeting to pick someone new, talking about who can take over and keep the standoff going. And Luoji feels ready to let go, his body worn out from the stress. He takes Zhuangyan and their daughter to a sunny hill one day, sitting with them in the grass, and tells them he's done his job, his voice quiet but firm. They look at him, smiling, happy to have him back without the weight of the world on him, and Luoji feels a real calm, something he hasn't known since this all started. He watches his daughter chase a butterfly, her laughter carrying on the wind, and thinks maybe this peace was worth it, even if it's not forever. Even as he steps away, the standoff holds. Humanity keeps going, breathing easier, though the Trisolarans stay out there, silent and waiting. The ETO fades, its members growing quiet, and people start to hope this peace might stick. Luoji knows it's shaky, like a thin wall holding back a flood, but he's given them time, years to live and rebuild. He sits with Zhuangyan at night, their hands together, and feels a quiet pride, because this life, this moment, is what he fought for, even if the shadow of the aliens never fully lifts. So this part ends with Luoji's plan working, stopping the Trisolarans in their tracks, and humanity finding a fragile survival. The crisis era closes, the standoff begins, and Luoji steps back, leaving the world to carry on under the dark forest threat he created. Part 5. Death's End. Collapse and Exile. The story begins years after Luoji held the Trisolarans at bay with his dark forest threat, and now he's old, his body weak from decades of watching the stars. He picks Chengxin, a gentlewoman who once worked on spaceship designs, to take over as sword holder, believing her kindness and brains make her right for the job. In a small, quiet room, Luoji hands her the controls to the signal machines, the ones that can call a strike from the universe to scare the Trisolarans, and tells her to be brave, his voice rough but steady. Chengxin takes the controls, her hands trembling, feeling the weight of Earth on her shoulders, and promises to keep the peace he fought for. At first, things stay calm. The Trisolaran fleet sits still in space, the Sophons keep watching, and people go on with their lives, building better ships and planning for a safer future. For a while, humans and Trisolarans even get along in a strange way, sharing the solar system under this tense peace. Small Trisolaran ships visit Earth sometimes, landing in empty fields, and humans watch from a distance, curious but careful, as the aliens trade bits of their technology for food and water. Leaders meet with them through screens, talking about rules to keep things safe, and kids wave at the shiny probes flying overhead, their voices loud with excitement. Chengxin sees this too, standing on a hill one day, watching a Trisolaran craft hum quietly in the sky, and feels a flicker of wonder, thinking maybe they can live together, even if it's not perfect. But soon, Chengxin settles into her role, walking through busy cities where people smile at her, trusting her to keep them safe. She meets with leaders, listens to their ideas, and checks the signal machines every day, her heart lifting a little because it seems like everything's okay. Kids play in parks, workers repair roads, and ships take off to explore space, all under the odd piece Luoji left behind. But the Trisolarans don't strike right when she takes over. They wait, their Sophons studying her every move, testing if she's as strong as Luoji was. Chengxin feels their eyes sometimes, a cold shiver down her back, but she pushes it away, hoping they'll stay scared of the dark forest threat. Then one day, everything turns upside down. The Trisolarans send a small probe, a water droplet, fast and shiny, racing toward Earth, a quiet test to see if Chengxin will use the signal. She rushes to a control room, her breath short, as screens flash with the probe's path, getting closer every second. Scientists and soldiers crowd around, their faces pale, yelling at her to press the button and send the signal to stop it. Chengxin stares at the controls, her heart pounding loud in her ears, and thinks about what it means. Calling a strike could kill stars and worlds she'll never see, and her kindness makes her pause. She doesn't press it, her hands frozen, tears in her eyes, and the probe flies on, showing the Trisolarans she won't fight back. Hours later, the Trisolarans act. They send tiny weapons to smash the signal machines, explosions ripping through bases around the world, and Chengxin watches from a window, her stomach dropping as fire lights up the night. The dark forest threat is gone, and the Trisolarans send a message through the Sophons, saying the peace is over, their fleet now speeding toward Earth. People scream in the streets. Leaders shout at Chengxin, calling her soft and weak, and she feels guilt crash over her chest so tight she can barely breathe. She knows her hesitation broke the standoff, and there's no way to take it back. The Trisolarans move in fast, telling humans to leave Earth because they're taking it. Leaders start the Great Resettlement, forcing millions to pack up and move to Australia, a huge dry land where they squeeze together, hoping to survive a little longer. Chengxin walks through the chaos, seeing families grab clothes and food, kids crying for their toys, and old people sitting lost on the ground. She joins a team to save books and machines, her hands full of dusty papers, but her mind is stuck on the faces blaming her. Trisolaran ships land soon after, big and strange, marching over cities and farms, and humans run, their voices loud with fear and anger. Chengxin hides her tears, working day and night, but the shame stays with her. Years later, before the Trisolarans fully lock down Earth, Chengxin gets a chance to escape. As the aliens start taking over, humans launch every ship they can, and Chengxin boards Starship Earth with her friend IAA, a strong woman who stays by her side. They take off in the middle of the mess, with sirens blaring and people fighting to get on ships, watching Earth shrink below as Trisolaran machines spread across it, humans crowded in Australia, waiting to fade away. Chengxin presses her face to the window, her throat tight, feeling sick for the home she lost. But IAA pulls her away, saying they have to keep moving. They join other ships, all full of people escaping, flying out to find a new place to live. Chengxin holds a small box with seeds and records, a piece of Earth she can't let go, and stares at it, her only comfort in the dark. Then, far from Earth, the worst comes. A tiny weapon, a two-dimensional foil, drops into the solar system, sent by a faraway power no one knows, not the Trisolarans, because Luoji's old signal told the universe where to look, and someone decided to wipe out the danger. Chengxin and IA watch screens as it hits, and the solar system flattens into a thin, flat shape. Planets disappear, the sun blinks out, and Earth turns into a dead, two-dimensional picture, all gone in a flash. Chengxin gasps, her hands shaking, tears streaming down as she sees her world die, and IAA holds her tight, both quiet with shock because it's all over now. Humanity's home is lost forever. After that, Chengxin and IAA drift on, their ship a tiny dot in the universe, carrying what's left of Earth's story. They meet other survivors sometimes, trading supplies and words, but most ships are gone, lost or broken in space. Chengxin feels her failure every day, her heart heavy with the lives she couldn't save, and IAA tries to cheer her, talking about new planets they might reach. They land on Planet Blue, a rocky place with water and thin air, and set up a camp, planting seeds from the box. Chengxin digs in the dirt, her hands sore, hoping a flower might grow, a small sign of Earth living on. Time moves forward, and Chengxin keeps going, her life now about exile and holding on. She and IAA build a little museum on Planet Blue, filling it with Earth things, books, tools, pictures of old cities, because she wants humanity remembered, even out here. She thinks of Luoji often, wondering if he'd hate her for ruining his plan, and the Trisolarans, who won but still hide from bigger dangers. Chengxin feels small, her hope thin, but she keeps working, planting more seeds and watching the stars, knowing she's one of the last carrying Earth's memory. So, this part ends with Earth lost to the Trisolarans, Chengxin's hesitation ending the standoff, and humanity scattered into exile. The solar system collapses, and Chengxin drifts on, her heart broken, but still trying to save a piece of her home. Part 6. Death's End. Sacrifice and Eternity. Years have passed since Chengxin and IAA landed on Planet Blue, a rocky, lonely world far from the flattened Earth, and they've been trying to build a small life there, away from everything they lost. Chengxin spends her days working hard, digging in the tough dirt with her hands, planting seeds from the little box she carried from Earth, seeds that might grow into flowers or trees, a bit of home she refuses to let go. She's quiet most of the time, her face lined with worry, still feeling the weight of losing Earth and letting the Trisolarans take it because she couldn't press that button. IA stays by her side, her voice loud and sure, always pushing Chengxin to keep going, saying they can make something new even out here in the dark. They've built a small camp with metal walls and a roof, a place to sleep and eat, and sometimes they sit outside at night, looking at the stars, wondering what's left out there. Life on Planet Blue is hard but steady. They find water underground, grow tiny plants in pots, and fix their ship when it breaks. Chengxin often stares at the box, running her fingers over the records inside, things like songs and pictures from Earth, and it makes her chest ache because it's all she has left of a world that's gone. IAA notices her sadness and tries to cheer her up, telling jokes or stories about the old days, her laugh cutting through the silence. One afternoon, while they're fixing a water pump, a shadow moves across the sky. A ship lands nearby, kicking up dust, and a man steps out, tall and thin with a tired face. His name is Wenjie, a scientist who's been wandering space, and he walks up to them, his voice soft, saying he's got news that might change everything. They sit together in the camp, sharing a meal of dried food, and Wenjie starts talking, his words slow but heavy. He tells them he's seen the Trisolarans out in space, not strong and scary like before, but weak and scattered, their ship small and broken, running from the same dangers that hit Earth. Chengxin listens, her hands tight around a cup, because it's hard to believe the aliens who ruined her home are struggling too. Wenjie says their planet got flattened by something big, maybe the same kind of weapon that took the solar system, and now they're just trying to survive, hiding from powers they can't fight. He looks at Chengxin, his eyes serious, and says the universe is falling apart. Big forces out there are turning everything flat, using things like the two-dimensional foil, and it's coming for everyone, even them. Chengxin feels her stomach twist, her mind racing with questions, and IAA leans closer, asking what they can do. Wenjie says he knows a place, a small pocket universe, a hidden bubble where they might be safe for a while, and he asks them to come with him, to see it and maybe find a way to keep going. Chengxin looks at IAA, then at the seeds she's been planting, and feels torn. She doesn't want to leave this little world she's tried to build, but she's scared of staying and losing it all again. After a long night of talking, they agree, packing up their camp with shaky hands, loading the box and their tools onto Guan Yifan's ship. They take off, the ground shrinking below, and Chengxin watches Planet Blue fade, her heart heavy but curious about what's ahead. The trip is long, their ship moving through endless dark space, and Chengxin spends hours looking out the window, seeing stars blink and die, feeling small in a way she never has before. Guan Yifan sits with her sometimes, telling her about his years exploring, how he's seen worlds collapse and ships drift empty, and it makes her shiver, thinking how close they are to the end of everything. One day, they reach the pocket universe. A tiny gate opens in space, and they fly through, landing on a soft green world with water and trees, like a piece of earth brought back. Chengxin steps out, her feet sinking into grass, and takes a deep breath, her eyes wet because it's so beautiful, so much like home. Guan Yifan says this place was made by someone smart, a hideout from the flattening, and they can stay here, safe for now. They settle in, building a house by a lake, catching fish and picking fruit from the trees, and for a while, it feels like a new start. Chengxin walks the shore every morning, her steps slow, feeling the wind on her face, and Iaa swims in the water, laughing like she's young again. Guan Yifan works on his tools, studying the pocket, and they talk at night, sharing stories about Earth and the Trisolarans, finding a kind of peace together. But Chengxin can't fully relax. She keeps thinking about the universe outside, shrinking and dying, and wonders how long this can last. One night, Guan Yifan wakes her up, his face pale, saying he's found something big, something that explains it all, and pulls her to his screens to show her. He says the universe is ending. Long ago, it was huge, with more dimensions than they can imagine, but smart beings started fighting, flattening it down to stay alive, and now it's almost nothing, ready to collapse completely. Chengxin sits there, her hands cold, as he tells her about the Returners, a group who want to fix it, to make a new universe by giving back all the stuff trapped in pockets like theirs. She feels her breath catch, because if they give up this world, they'll die with it. But if they don't, nothing new will ever begin. Guan Yifan looks at her, his voice quiet, and says it's their choice. He's ready either way, but it's up to them to decide what's right. Days go by, and Chengxin walks alone a lot, thinking by the lake, her mind full of Earth. Her family, the cities, all the people she couldn't save. Iaa sits with her sometimes, holding her hand, scared but strong, saying they've come this far together. One morning, a message comes, a soft voice from the Returners, asking for their pocket back, promising a fresh universe if they let it go. Chengxin listens, her heart pounding, because she wants to stay here, to live with Guan Yifan and Iaa in this safe place. But she also wants a new chance for everything, even if she's not part of it. She talks to them, her voice breaking, and says she thinks they should give it back, to let something bigger happen, even if it means the end for them. Guan Yifan nods, tears in his eyes, and Iaa hugs her tight, whispering she's the bravest person she knows. They make the choice together. Chengxin takes the box of Earth seeds and records, writing a quick note about humanity, about their fights and dreams, and sets it outside the pocket, a tiny piece to carry on. They shut down the machines, keeping their world alive, and the bubble starts to fade. The trees vanish, the water dries up, and the sky turns dark. Chengxin holds Guan Yifan's hand, and Iaa right beside her, and they stand close as space closes in, their breathing slow, feeling calm even as everything slips away, knowing they're giving it all for a new beginning. Far in the future, the universe resets. Everything flattens to nothing, then explodes back, bright and new, full of stars and worlds again. Chengxin, Guan Yifan, and Iaa are gone, their pocket melted into the restart, but the box floats on, a small speck in the fresh space, holding Earth's story. Someday, new beings might find it, reading about humans and Trisolarans, about a woman who gave up everything for a chance at forever. The story ends with that hope, a new universe born from their sacrifice, stretching out eternal and wide, a place where their memory lives on.